Receive divine blessings this Wednesday, April 29th. 3 miraculous gifts prophesied to manifest. In the heart of a quaint English village, whispers and stirrings filled the air like the sweet scent of blooming flowers. A sense of divine anticipation hung heavy, echoing the message that electrified the hearts of villagers. 3 miraculous gifts awaited those who dared to believe. The excitement surged through the cobblestone streets, filling every heart with sprigs of hope. Emily, a devoted mother and firm believer, felt the pulse of faith quicken within her. She embraced the weight of the moment, knowing her family needed something extraordinary. With her husband's recent layoffs and their son, Jamie, battling illness, the tranquility of their home felt shattered. As doubt danced in the minds of her neighbors, Emily pressed forward, unwavering. She felt an ancient prayer beckoning her a call to gather her family for a night of heartfelt supplication. The words flowed like honey, promising divine healing and provision. "Come, my loves," she urged, gathering her husband and son in their snug living room, the flickering candlelight casting a warm glow over their faces. They kneeled on the well-worn rug, their eyes closed, hearts whispering to the heavens. "Patron saints, hear our cries. We seek peace, provision, and healing." The air thickened with a sacred aura, a palpable hum of spiritual energy enveloping them. Just then, a powerful prophetic word washed over the room, reverberating through Emily's spirit like a rushing river, a promise of blessings that would knit their family back together. But as the fateful Wednesday approached, Emily's heart began to tremble under the weight of skepticism. Neighbors murmured doubts. Even Pastor Charles questioned her conviction. "Miracles, they are rare," he cautioned, his brow furrowed in concern. Yet Emily was determined, her resolve as sturdy as the ancient stones of St. Michael's Church itself. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. She decided to open the church doors for communal prayer, inviting every heart in the village to join in unity. The night was bright, and candles flickered in shadows as villagers filled St. Michael's, faces reflecting a blend of hope and doubt. The atmosphere crackled with divine expectancy, a tension so thick one could almost taste it. Just as doubt seeped into conversation, miraculous stories started to trickle from those gathered. Half-healed ailments sprang to life again. Once broken spirits sang joyous praises, and flickers of belief emerged amid skepticism. Emily's heart raced. The tide was turning. She could almost feel the winds of faith swirling around them. As day drew near, the air hummed with the promise of what was to come. Then, on the morning of April 29th, an enigmatic stranger appeared in the village square, eyes glimmering with secrets. "Preparations must be made," he warned cryptically, the weight of his words sending shivers down Emily's spine. Gazing at St. Michael's, enveloped in the aura of hope and the scent of blooming roses, she sensed they stood at a crossroads. Would the gifts truly be a turning point or a challenge yet to come? The village was poised on the brink of transformation, but as revelations loomed, Emily found herself grappling with the mysterious implications of faith. The sun rose vibrantly over the village, casting its golden glow upon each dew-tipped blade of grass. April 29th had arrived, and with it, a day brimming with promise. The chiming bells of St. Michael's echoed across the village, summoning believers to gather and pray. Emily awoke early, a spark of anticipation igniting her spirit. Every fiber of her being vibrated with hope. As she prepared breakfast, the familiar aroma of toast and honey wafted through their home like a warm embrace. Jamie, his bright eyes reflecting youthful innocence mixed with weariness, made his way to the table. "Mom, do you think today will be special?" he asked, a hint of uncertainty dancing in his voice. Emily knelt beside him, cupping his small hands in hers. "I believe it will, my love. The Lord has plans for us today, great plans we cannot yet see." A sense of peace washed over her as she spoke, filling the gaps that doubt wanted to invade. After breakfast, they dressed with care and made their way toward the church. The village square was alive with movement and chatter. Excitement buzzed like the stirrings of honeybees. Villagers greeted one another with warm smiles, yet behind their eyes lingered a thread of uncertainty. Emily felt it too, the question hanging heavy in the air. Would their faith stand trial today? As they arrived at St. Michael's, she caught sight of the stranger from the previous day, his presence a puzzle amid the sea of familiar faces. He stood to one side, a ghost of mystery wrapped in simple robes, watching as people shuffled in, hearts wide open and eyes bright with expectation. The church doors opened wide, welcoming each soul. Emily crossed the threshold, her heart racing. She could almost hear the whisper of angels above, urging them towards unity and faith. The flickering candles illuminated the room with warmth, casting shadowed figures that bowed in reverence. Pastor Charles took the pulpit, his eyes scanning the congregation. Rather than preaching doubt, he spoke of faith unmeasured, his voice a steady compass guiding them. "Today we stand upon holy ground," he declared, "where the impossible becomes possible. Let us surrender our fears and embrace the gift God has promised." The aroma of fresh flowers woven by hand filled the air, and suddenly a hush fell over the congregation. A palpable tension spread through the room. Emily held her breath as the stranger stepped forward from the shadows, his presence commanding attention. "I come bearing a message," he said, his voice smooth yet powerful. "The miracles you seek are within you, waiting to be unleashed through your faith. But you must be willing to act boldly." The air thrummed with energy, and a ripple of murmurs traveled through the church. Emily felt her heart race as though it might burst. What did that mean? An outpouring of blessings, but what kind of action was required? As worship began, voices rose in harmony, a cascade of praises floating heavenward. Tears of joy welled in Emily's eyes while Jamie swayed in time with the music, innocence wrapped in the promise of hope. She felt a lightness, a lifting of burdens. The collective heart of the village seemed to radiate faith like an undying flame. But beneath the surface, unease tightened its grip. What was the stranger's role in all of this? As devotion filled the room, an unmistakable transformation loomed on the horizon. The sanctity of the moment grew thick, crackling with the raw essence of something divine. And then, just as the last note echoed, the room fell silent. One question hung heavily in the atmosphere. What would it take to unlock the miracles waiting to unfold? As the moment swelled, Emily's spirit stirred with anticipation. Knowing something sacred was about to be revealed, what mysteries would be unveiled this very day? The air hummed with a divine expectancy, and Emily's heart thrummed in sync with the collective pulse of hope around her. The moment stretched, pregnant with possibility, and all eyes were on the stranger. She could feel the weight of the gaze. The congregants were like a taut bowstring, ready to release all the pent-up faith they carried in their hearts. The stranger lifted his hands slowly, palms towards the congregation. A gentle warmth poured from him, and for a moment it felt as if the very atmosphere shifted. The flickering candlelight could not compete with the radiant light that seemed to emanate from his being. "This is a day of revelation," he said softly, but his voice carried like thunder through the stillness. "A day where fears shall be melted away by the fires of faith." Emily blinked, caught in the wonder of it all. Little Jamie squeezed her hand, his grip tightening with an innocent sense of urgency. What child could perceive the weight of such a profound moment? Yet there they stood. She could feel the anticipation coursing through him, too. The childlike excitement radiated off him like the sun illuminating the horizon. "You have questions," the stranger continued, "and the Lord has answers. Today may seem ordinary, but the heavens open for those willing to embrace the call. The choice loomed before her, beckoning her to form her answer. What must they do to receive these divine gifts? The very essence of faith was about to unfold in unimaginable ways. The light around them intensified, swirling like a soft embrace. Emily felt it wrap around her, tender yet powerful. It was a reminder of the promise that awaited just beyond the altar. She opened her eyes, her heart beating like a drum echoing in the silence. Each thrum spoke of a longing that ran deep within her, a yearning to believe, to hope, and to receive. "Lord, I surrender," she whispered, her voice barely audible yet steady. With that declaration, an electric rush shot through her body, igniting every fear she had ever known. She realized that it was not merely about asking for gifts. It was about opening her heart, her very being, to the possibility of change. Jamie squeezed her hand even tighter, and she could see a spark of light dance in his wide eyes. His innocence shone like a beacon, unabashedly trusting in the goodness of the world. "What is happening, Mom?" he asked, the words tumbling out in a mixture of excitement and wonder. "Miracles, love," she replied, a flood of warmth washing over her. "Miracles." The congregation held its breath, each person caught in their individual moments of recognition and yearning. The elder who had doubted before now stood, eyes wide, a flicker of belief igniting within him. The whispers grew louder as more souls began to grasp the weight of potential, the air thick with anticipation. The stranger before the altar positioned himself, arms open wide, as if inviting all to receive what the heavens poured forth. "What is in your heart? Speak aloud." His voice rang out, carrying an open invitation to all. "Hope," called out an elderly woman at the front. "Healing," shouted a man, tears streaming down his face as vulnerability turned into courage. "I want joy," a young mother added, her voice steady in its resolve. One by one, the requests flowed like a river of faith, each echoing declaration vibrant in its urgency. Emily felt the powerful current pulling at her heartstrings. The stranger's gaze shifted back to her, and suddenly she understood this was not merely about receiving. It was about giving, about letting go of fear and embracing the transformational love that flooded the room. As if sensing her thoughts, the stranger spoke directly to her. "You have the power to witness miracles, dear child. Share your heart's desire." She took a deep breath, steeling her resolve. "I want to heal," she exclaimed, "not just for myself, but for others too. I want to bring hope to my community." Instantly, a wave of energy surged through her, a phenomenon she had never experienced, an unseen connection enveloping the congregants, binding them in mutual purpose. When she looked around, faces of faith ignited with renewed spirits, displaying colors of fervor and expectation. Just then, the stranger began to pray, calling upon the heavens, urging the congregation to unify their voices. Emily joined in, her heart leaping as she lifted her voice alongside countless others. They cried out, a communal effort embracing the prayers of their longing hearts. The atmosphere thickened with divine intention, a palpable reality of grace filling every crevice of the space between them. In that instant, a soft light enveloped Emily, and she felt warmth cascade over her like a gentle waterfall. The gifts of healing, hope, and transformation were not distant dreams anymore. They were gifts being unwrapped before her eyes, spilling forth like golden rays on her spirit. Tears of joy and peace began to stream down her cheek as she surrendered completely. What diamonds of divine grace awaited them all? As the final notes of prayer faded, an overwhelming charge hung in the air, pregnant with the answer. And then, in a soft whisper, as if the very fabric of the universe were bending toward them, the stranger uttered, "Now, the time has come for the greatest gift of all, a gift that even you have not yet imagined." Emily's heart raced, a thrill laced with dread. What could it possibly mean? What divine experience awaited? Was all of them, ready to receive it? Emily clutched Jamie's hand tighter, her heart pounding against her ribcage. What could this greatest gift be? The atmosphere buzzed with a raw energy that set her skin tingling. She turned to the stranger at the altar, seeking clarity in the light that danced behind him. His presence was a warm and steadying force, framing the uncertainty swirling within her. With a gentle nod, he began to articulate the essence of this divine gift. The greatest gift is not wrapped in materiality, he said, his voice soft yet echoing powerfully against the walls. It is the gift of becoming who you truly are. Your spirits are ready to rise, to reach heights you have not yet dared to dream. Around her, the congregation seemed to shift, faces illuminated with understanding, eyes reflecting hope anew. Emily saw shadows of pain and heartache dissolve. She sensed barriers crumbling against the tide of collective faith. Yet, the gift he spoke of felt elusive, shrouded in layers of anticipation. Mum, Jamie tugged at her sleeve, his youthful curiosity piercing her reverie. What does he mean? Sweetheart, I think she stammered, searching for words that could encapsulate this weighty moment. I think it means we're going to transform. We can be healed and healed others. The stranger raised his arms higher, a gesture inviting the crowd to lean into the promise of renewal. There are 3 miracles waiting just beyond your grasp, he proclaimed, his eyes sparkling like polished stones. You must each decide, with unwavering faith, which miracle you will choose. Emily felt the room light up with voices echoing one another. Each person began to choose their miracle aloud, weaving a tapestry of hopes and dreams. I want courage. An elderly gentleman's voice soared above the rest. I want love, called a young woman by the entrance, her eyes gleaming with a blend of eagerness and longing. What did she want? The question danced through Emily's mind like fireflies in the dusk. The warmth of the light surrounded her, but she hesitated. What if she chose wrong? What if the call of her heart didn't resonate with this moment? Suddenly, Jamie's voice broke through her contemplations. Mom, say it. Go on. His innocent expectation ignited a fire within her. She inhaled deeply, feeling a pull from the gathering like a magnet of hope. I choose transformation, she declared boldly, her voice surprising even herself with its strength. A powerful surge shot through her, a wave riding the current of the crowd as faith. It was then she felt her heart expand with the warmth of belonging, flooded by the love enveloping her in assurance that she was not just a spectator, but a vessel meant for divine purpose. Amid the illumination, the stranger's face glimmered with approval. So be it. Transformation for you, dear child, and for all who dare to believe. As Emily embraced this radical declaration, she felt a wave of love pour over her, rippling through the section of believers surrounding her. The air thickened with revelation, each heartbeat echoing deeper understanding. The greatest gift was becoming instruments in God's greater plan. Yet in the midst of this newfound joy, doubt crept in a whisper rising from the depths of her mind. What would that transformation demand from her? What sacrifices might be needed? The very moment she felt the sweet assurance of divine guidance, the stranger lifted his arms even higher. And now, beloved ones, prepare yourselves, for we will invoke the blessings of the heavens. The time for manifestation is near. Emily's heart raced in tandem with the growing tension of the crowd. What would come forth when they reached this divine fulfillment? Would they truly witness miracles made manifest, their lives forever altered? As the words of prayer enveloped her, she felt herself slipping into the deepest of mysteries, knowing that the true question was not just what God would do, but what she was willing to become. What would happen when the blessings poured forth? Would they be ready to receive? The air grew thick with anticipation as the stranger's voice melted into the echoes of the gathered faithful. Emily felt a collective shift, a surge of energy swirling around her. The murmurs of the crowd faded, replaced by a profound stillness, as if the very heavens paused to listen. Take a moment to ground yourselves, the stranger urged, his voice now a soothing balm. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Let go of your doubts. Focus on your intention. Emily felt herself obeying instinctively. She closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, drawing the warmth of hope into her lungs. As she exhaled, she visualized her fears floating away like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Around her, other voices began to whisper prayers, harmonizing in a celestial chorus of aspiration. Jamie's small hand felt warm and reassuring in hers, and she could sense his own yearning for the miraculous. She focused on their combined hope, creating a thread of pure faith, tethering them to the promises unfolding. The stranger's presence radiated profound peace. The first miracle is the gift of healing. Do you desire healing for yourself, for others? Close your eyes and envision it restoration flowing through pain, tendering wounds anew. Emily's heart raced, healing to mend what was broken. She imagined each loved one in her life, their struggles, their burdens. Yes, she whispered softly, feeling the energy shift, wrapping around her like divine cotton safe, warm, whole. The second miracle is love, the kind that binds souls together, breaking down barriers forged by fear. Open your hearts to receive this love and let it spread. Are you ready? The vibrant light surrounding them felt electric, and she could see flickers of flame lighting up in the hearts of those beside her. People began to weep, tears mingling with laughter as they responded. Yes, we choose love. And then, the stranger's voice, charged with vigor. Lastly, the miracle of divine purpose. To step into your calling, to live abundantly, fulfilling what you were uniquely made for. In your heart, what do you desire? Speak or whisper now. Purpose, Emily breathed, sudden clarity washing over her. She envisioned herself not just as a mother, but as an instrument of transformation. She saw faces, those of strangers, of friends, and even enemies, each needing the touch of grace she could offer. She saw how her choices could ripple through community and beyond. Now the stranger declared, his arms raised, "Let us join together in prayer. Let your spirits rise, for the heavens are open. Speak your miracles into existence." A mighty roar erupted from the crowd as they called out their desires with fervor. Healing, love, purpose. The sound ascended, intertwining with the spiritual realm, creating a symphony of hope that echoed through the room and into eternity. Emily felt the ground beneath her pulse with warmth, her heart racing not only with hope, but with something deeper, an assured conviction that transformation was already underway. Yet, as she stood enveloped in collective faith, she felt the weight of responsibility. Could she truly become the vessel required? What would it take to embrace this new identity woven in divine thread? As the prayers intensified, she caught a glimpse of the stranger guiding them with eyes that saw beyond this moment. Embrace the uncertainty ahead, for what is seen is merely a reflection of the unseen. Prepare your hearts, for the moment of divine intervention will arrive unexpectedly. Emily clutched Jamie's hand tighter, feeling the thrill of something celestial drawing near. What would it take for her to fully accept this calling? Would she rise to meet the demand of miracles unfolding before her? A hush fell upon them as the atmosphere shifted again, sparking a new wave of gravity in the air. What revelations awaited them in the approaching glory? What would happen when divine purpose broke forth like the dawn? The air crackled with an unseen energy, and Emily felt the weight of anticipation settle over the gathering like a comforting blanket. The stranger's voice, now a quiet whisper, still resonated within her, urging her to remain open, to listen, to trust. "Prepare yourselves," he continued, his presence a calm amidst the brewing storm of emotions. "The miracles you seek are closer than you think. They require your faith to take root." Every heart was a vessel waiting to receive. Sounds of gentle sobs and quiet affirmations peppered the space. Emily opened her eyes and looked around, absorbing the faces of those who stood beside her. Some wore familiar smiles of friends, while others bore the traces of hardship and sorrow. Jamie, still holding her hand tightly, looked up with wide eyes. "Mom, do you think it's true? Can we really have miracles?" The innocence in his voice tugged at her heartstrings, making her resolve deepen. "Yes, sweetheart. We have to believe." "Your belief," the stranger spoke again, his gaze sweeping across the room, "is the flame that ignites these miracles. Hold on to it. Your faith can open doors thought to be long closed." Emily's pulse quickened. She thought of all the moments when her belief wavered, when life felt overwhelmingly heavy. She squeezed Jamie's hand. In this sacred moment, she decided that she would not hold back. They had come to receive, and she was ready to embrace that truth. With the stranger's guidance, they were led into a moment of stillness, breathing deep the air infused with expectancy. Emily envisioned a guiding light, a clarity descending from above, filling every crevice of doubt. "I choose to believe," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the captivating silence. "Now take a step in faith," the stranger encouraged. "Visualize the miracles you wish to receive. Let them flow through you and into your life." Emily envisioned healing, love, and purpose again. She reflected on promises spoken, both for her family and for herself, transformation wrapped in divine grace. It resonated through her being, filling her with warmth, yet also challenging her to act. Deep within, she felt the gentle nudge of her heart, urging her to embrace her newfound role, the instrument of change she was destined to become. Suddenly, she felt the energy in the room amplify. Voices rose in tandem, creating a palpable wave of faith that surged through the gathered souls. "We believe, we receive," they called out, as if summoning the heavens to descend. The ground seemed to hum beneath Emily's feet, and she dared to close her eyes once more, surrendering completely to the moment. But then, silence enveloped them again, a sacred hush that spurred her heart to quicken. Something powerful was about to transpire. Her mind raced with unspoken questions. Would she truly be strong enough to rise to her calling? Did she possess the courage to step boldly into the purpose laid before her? In that silence, she felt a shift, an invitation to connect even deeper. The air shimmered around her, electric with divine love. Was this the moment they had all been waiting for? Just then, the stranger stretched out his hands, a wide smile breaking across his face. "Look up. The heavens are opening. Prepare to receive the blessings." Emily gasped, her heart pounding with wonder. What blessings awaited them? And how would her response shape the miracle unfolding in their lives? As the atmosphere swelled with potential, she felt it an awakening, a calling. What might happen when they fully embraced the weight of faith and the beauty of the unknown? She watched, breathless, as the light around them began to shift and dance, illuminating possibilities yet unseen. The moment hung in the air, vibrant and electric, as if the heavens themselves were straining to burst forth with grace. Emily felt her heart align with the rhythm of faith pulsating through the room. Each breath seemed heavier, more sacred, reverberating with the collective hope woven into the fabric of the gathering. As a stranger's voice echoed, "Prepare to receive," Emily's spirit soared. She turned inward for a moment, reflecting on her journey. The path had not always been smooth. It had been marked with challenges that had made her question, doubt, and sometimes falter. Yet here she stood, surrounded by a community enveloped in unwavering belief. She looked at Jamie, his eyes shimmering with innocence and trust. In that moment, she understood the depth of their bond, a symbiotic thread woven by love, loss, and faith. "Whatever happens, my love," she whispered to him, "we will face it together, filled with hope." The stranger began to move through the assembly, his arms wide, as if inviting the very light of heaven to cascade upon them. "It is time," he declared, "to awaken the miracles lying dormant within your hearts. Who among you can feel that spark? A wave of hands rose, trembling with anticipation. Voices chimed in agreement, words falling like leaves from trees in autumn. Yes, we feel it. The echo reverberated as the room filled with radiant energy. Emily could almost see it, threads of light weaving through the air, connecting hearts and souls, sparking with potential. It was as if the air itself had transformed into an unseen canvas, waiting for the brushstrokes of their faith to paint the miracles they desired. Close your eyes and see the blessings, the stranger instructed gently. Visualize what you need most. She did just that, conjuring vivid images. Her family enveloped in health, friendships rekindled, purpose revealed. The burdens that had once anchored her began to lift. She felt light, free, an open vessel prepared to receive the outpouring of divine grace. As she delved deeper into her visions, a comforting warmth enveloped her. It was a presence that seemed to whisper words of encouragement, assuring her that they were enough, that she was enough. Emily surrendered to it, allowing trust to bind every doubt. I receive, she murmured, I receive. The stranger sensed the shifting energy and turned his gaze towards the sky, a transcendent smile illuminating his face. Now let your voices rise. Let them touch the skies. Let them be the bridge between your hearts and the heavens. The congregation erupted into chant and song, words flowing from eager mouths like rivers. We believe, we receive. Their voices melded into a harmonious symphony laced with hope. As the music soared, Emily sensed an unseen hand at work. Did God weave miracles within the fabric of their unity? Did faith hold enough weight to guide blessings into their midst? She opened her eyes again, and the shimmering light grew brighter, illuminating the faces around her. Each person was radiant, reflecting a spectrum of emotions: joy, sorrow, wonder. United in faith, they stood on the cusp of something monumental, a collective vibration breathing life into what was unseen. Yet as the climactic energy built, she felt a twinge of uncertainty. What if they weren't ready? Would they recognize the miracles? Emily's heart raced as the sacred hush settled once more like a tender whisper. Do you feel the shift? The stranger asked, locking eyes with Emily. The blessings may not come as you expect. Are you ready to embrace the divine mystery ahead? His question hung in the air, heavy with promise and challenge. Emily took a deep breath, realizing this journey was just beginning. What awaited them on this divine path? What miracles would unveil themselves, shimmering just beyond the horizon? With the heavy weight of anticipation still lingering, she whispered a prayer, longing for clarity and strength. One thing was certain: faith unlocked the door to the extraordinary. Would they be willing to walk through it together? A sudden silence enveloped the room, heavy with expectancy. Emily felt a shift in the atmosphere, as if a gentle, warm breeze swept through, carrying whispers of divine possibilities. The collective breath of the congregation held the promise of transformation. Each soul present seemed woven together in a tapestry of yearning, ready to receive the unseen blessings that awaited them. Just then, the stranger raised his hands, palms upturned to the heavens. You are on the edge of something profound. Look around you, it is here, the miracle you seek. A burst of faith, a belief, uniting as one. Encouraged, the crowd began to respond, nodding and murmuring in acknowledgement. Emily caught sight of Jamie, his small hand raised high, as if he were claiming something from the light above. Her heart swelled with pride. His innocence served as a reminder of their journey. They had always wanted a life filled with possibilities, and now it felt like they were on the brink of that dream. Let your spirits soar, the stranger exclaimed, his voice reverberating throughout the gathering space. Let us invite the presence of the divine to inhabit our hearts, to fill every nook of our being. Emily felt an irresistible pull to join in. She lifted her voice alongside others, singing words of hope and adoration. Each phrase resonated deep within, and her soul ignited with a flutter of joy. The blessings she had visualized flowed like rivers into her very essence. With every note, she could feel her burdens begin to melt away, replaced by an unshakable peace. But then, a cloud of doubt crept in. What if her hopes were misplaced? What if she wasn't meant to receive the light? Would it wash over her, or would it slip through her fingers like sand? Emily reminded herself of the shared energy around her, the faith binding every soul, reinforcing her resolve. Listen, the stranger's voice pierced the silence, pulling her back to the moment. Miracles don't always come the ways we expect. Sometimes they come wrapped in love, in relationship, in unexpected encounters. Open yourselves to the mystery. A muffled response echoed from the crowd, hearts stirring with recognition. A few began stepping forward, sharing snippets of encouragement, testifying of previous miracles they had experienced. The atmosphere ignited further. Stories intermingled with prayers, creating a sense of communion that breathed life into every corner of the room. Emily's eyes sparkled with gratitude. She caught a glimpse of an older woman, her face glowing with wisdom and warmth as she spoke. "Faith is like a seed," she said softly. "You may not see it sprout today, but don't lose hope. The roots are growing in secret, preparing for the lush bloom to come." Tears brimmed in Emily's eyes as she bathed in the truth of those words. She turned inward, meditating on her request, daring to interlace her heart's longing with divine purpose. What blossoms would emerge from the seed of faith she had so carefully nurtured? "Prepare your hearts." The stranger called once more, his enthusiasm contagious. "The moment of divine intervention is upon us, and I invite you to set your intentions. What do you seek? What is your miracle?" And so, the air thickened, and an electric pulse coursed through the congregation, trembling with expectancy. The question sat heavily, a holy challenge whispered into the depths of Emily's spirit. What miracle awaited her, and were they truly ready to welcome it? She remained poised on the threshold of something magnificent. Would they be open enough to embrace the mystery ahead? Would they truly recognize the blessings when they arrived? With hope shimmering in her heart, she prepared to make her intention known. The atmosphere buzzed with expectancy as Emily's heart raced in unison with the tidal wave of anticipation sweeping through the crowd. The stranger stood before them, a beacon of divine energy, illuminating the path toward the miracles promised. Each beat of her heart resonated with the whispers of hope that danced in the air. "Now is the time to step forward," he urged, inviting each soul to claim what they sought. "You must believe. You must act on your faith." Emily, with Jamie's hand still clasped tightly in her own, felt a surge of courage swell within her. Today was pivotal. Today would mark their lives forever. "We can do this," she whispered to Jamie, who nodded fervently, eyes glistening with innocent determination. At that moment, the stranger's gaze caught hers, a profound connection sparking between them. "Will you be the catalyst for change?" he asked, his voice laced with gentle authority. The weight of his words bore down upon her like sunlight breaking through a heavy rain cloud. "I want to heal," she declared, conviction pouring forth with the intensity of a rushing river. "I want to bring hope to our community." The sound resonated through the church, echoing off the ancient stones and infusing the gathering with reverence. A collective sigh swept through the crowd, and the stranger smiled knowingly. "Then let us unite you in your purpose. Gather around, beloved ones. Hold hands, feel the energy flow between you." Emily felt the warmth radiate from the hands of neighbors and friends surrounding her. The air thickened as hearts unified in faith, weaving a tapestry of shared dreams and desires. Jamie bounced on his toes, his exuberance infectious, and for a fleeting moment, doubt evaporated like morning mist. "Now, close your eyes," the stranger instructed, "and visualize the miracles. See them as they unfold." She took a deep breath, envisioning a world where healing reigned, where a family thrived, laughter echoed, and joy permeated their lives. With every inhale, she felt her doubts dissipate. With every exhale, she released burdens she had carried for too long. The sounds of murmured prayers filled her ears' hearts, echoing with ambitions, fears, and expectations. Each person visualized their own miracles, intertwining their longing like ribbons of light in the air. Emily recognized that although their desires were personal, they created a collective strength that could not be ignored. "Together we are unstoppable," an elder shouted, igniting a spark among the villagers. "We shall rise in faith." Just then, a flicker of light burst forth, illuminating the room as if heaven itself had opened in support of their shared intentions. The glow wrapped around them like a divine cloak, filling the space with an electricity that sent chills down her spine. "Now is the moment," the stranger proclaimed, his voice a clarion call that commanded attention. "On the count of 3, let your voices lift to the Lord. Claim your miracles. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The air erupted with a resounding chorus of declarations. Healing, hope, transformation. Emily could feel the vibrations of faith colliding in a glorious symphony as they chanted, their united voices weaving the spiritual fabric of their intentions into existence. In that sacred moment, she sensed a profound shift within herself. The shadows of doubt that had clung to her like a second skin began to melt away, replaced by an unimaginable lightness. The fear that had once bound her transformed into sheer conviction, breathing life into the very corners of her soul. And then it happened. A wave of warmth flooded her being, prickling her skin and pulling at her heart. It felt as if the heavens responded, and she knew, in her bones, that her prayers were finally being heard. As she stood bathed in divine love, she lifted her gaze to Jamie. His face radiated pure joy, and she noticed that the spark of faith within him lit the room brighter than any candle. He turned, cheeks flushed with exhilaration, and shouted, "This is amazing, Mom. Look at the light." Emily's heart soared. They were transforming, each spirit empowered, and she could feel her purpose unfurling, culminating in a profound connection to something greater than themselves. Prepare to accept the blessings. The stranger's voice boomed, as if echoing through the cosmos. Now is the time for manifestation. Open your hands, open your hearts, and receive. With eyes closed and hands uplifted, Emily felt the congregation surge forward like a river, unity igniting raw devotion. A swell of warmth enveloped them, each ripple merging into a chorus of gratitude that filled every corner of the church. At that moment, they were not just individuals praying for miracles. They were a collective, a body of faith ready to embrace transformation. Then, the light grew brighter luminescence, spilling from the heavens, spilling into every heart craving healing and renewal. One by one, villagers began to gasp as they felt tangible changes. The sick stood taller, the weary found rest, and the once lost voices lifted in strength. "Look!" a woman exclaimed, and gasps filled the air. "Look at the flowers blooming." Emily turned to see a stunning sight, flowers blooming from cracks in the floor, vibrant colors spilling forth, fragrances entwining in harmony. The transformation was everywhere, bursting forth like a revival beneath their feet. In this moment of divine embrace, she realized they were not mere witnesses to miracles. They were participants in the resurrection of hope. As laughter and praise filled the church, an indescribable peace settled in Emily's heart. They had not only received the miraculous gifts that day, they had unlocked the greatest treasure of all, the knowledge that faith held the keys to every door. And here they stood, together, transformed by love and overflowing with gratitude, united in purpose and faith. As the reverberations of joy filled the room, Emily whispered a silent prayer of thanks, her heart wide open to the wonders awaiting each soul in this sacred space. "We are healed, we are whole," she breathed, tears of joy spilling on her cheeks. The stranger's final words resonated in her mind. The greatest miracle of all was accepting their true nature. They were forever changed, and nothing could stand in the way of hope that had blossomed that day. And in the joy of their newfound faith, Emily made a promise not just to herself, but to Jamie, to her neighbors, and to her community. She would carry this flame of hope forward, inviting every heart to witness the power of belief. "Let us go home, love," she said to Jamie, pulling him close. "Let the world know of the miracles they can hold." As they stepped softly into the light that poured from St. Michael's, Emily felt an indescribable joy, knowing their lives would forever reflect the beauty of faith and transformation, and whatever awaited them next, they would face it together, unshakably bound by love and faith. Now, friends, before you rush off, don't forget to join this journey of faith even deeper. Subscribe immediately to our channel, because you need to catch our next exclusive stories that will ignite your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the blessings with others. Your support truly matters, and only true servants of God understand its importance. Comment below your thoughts about this ending, and share your own testimonies of miracles witnessed. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. Let us spread the light of truth together.